Are you back in Edmonton now?
Yeah, I got back pretty soon, I guess, after the season. I didn't want to quarantine again if I went back. I obviously wanted to go back to Boston, but I would have had a 2-week quarantine here, and the rules have kind of changed, especially in Canada. So I just came back home.
Yeah, and just you've had 3 days or so to reflect on the season a little bit. How would you assess your performance this year? There was some ups and downs, and you were dropped on the third line. You played with Crutch a lot. What did you think about your season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, there was a lot of things that kind of happened this year, in the sense of just overall, game. I think that it obviously didn't go the way that I expected to at all. I think that I had very high expectations for myself coming into this year, and there's lots of ups and downs. So just kind of going through those waves is probably the thing that stands out the most this year. Is just how obviously everything kind of happened, I guess, before playoffs, and then obviously the break and the postseason. I think it was not necessarily similar. I thought my game was a little more consistent. It just seemed like production didn't want to happen.
We'll go next to Jimmy Murphy.
Hey, Jake, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, you're looking clean shaven and everything, huh?
Yeah, I look a little bit different, eh? Look a little younger.
Nice. Not me. But anyhow, yeah, just as, playing along, you've had a lot of time now playing alongside Crutch, and, arguably he was your best player in the playoffs there. I mean, what's it like to still see him perform at that level at his age?
Yeah, no, it's obviously a credit to him. He had very good playoffs, and honestly, there's a couple plays where he would probably even had more if we, obviously execute a little bit differently as a line. But to see him continue to, play his best hockey in the, the times where we need it the most, it just sums up the player he's always been. The player that he always, has been, at least to me, since I've been in the league. Obviously a leader and someone that I lean on a lot. So it was nice to see him have success. It just was a matter of, some things kind of, some bounces going our way, and we would have had more as a line.
Thanks.
We'll go next to Fluto Shintawa.
Hi, Jake. You're up. You're playing for a new deal. So there's that. I'm wondering how you feel, first of all, but it's also within the context of what you played on before. You went through the entry-level slide your first year in Providence. You've 4 years of pro experience. Bundling that all in, how do you feel about going into this offseason? What would you like to accomplish in terms of re-upping?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, I played 4 years now for this team or for this organization, I guess, because I played 1 year in Providence. And I played three years now in the league. So with good experience, obviously this year just by itself, I mean, playing playoff hockey in a bubble and going to the finals last year and even my first year, I feel like I've obviously learned a lot. I'm a younger player, and this is my first deal after my entry level. So obviously these years are kind of years that kind of shape you as a pro and, help you kind of understand, what it takes to win, obviously, and what can obviously happen, on the business side of things. So, I feel confident in, I guess, my play. I guess I feel confident in how I can help this team. I know what kind of player I can be. And this year obviously wasn't, I don't think it could be replicated, to be honest with you. I mean, I was, for how, the common perception is, I was still 1 goal away from 20 goals. And, that's one thing I looked at, at the end, once the first pause happened was, it felt like I was, completely different than what I guess that said. And it's not easy to do in this league, but I definitely have a lot better. And I haven't even really tuned into that yet, which is frustrating. But I think that these learning experiences from, I guess, my struggles have really helped me or will help me, as a pro when I continue on here.
We'll do another call for hands if anyone else wants to get in the queue to ask a question. In the meantime, Fluto, Mike, Steve, Jimmy, if any of you guys have a follow-up, feel free.
Jake, could I just to follow up a little more on Craich there? A lot of people that play with him have complimented how much of a thinker he is out there on the ice or on the bench. I'm just wondering, what's it like to sort of have a guy like that, whether it's in game or between games, to pick their brain?
Yeah, it's special. I mean, he is. I'd probably say the same thing, honestly. He thinks the game a different way, and it's shown by the way that he plays, obviously. But that's one of the things that is obviously most noticeable with him. And, it's lots of chit chat, I guess, on the bench as well, and just certain sets and things, just different ways to attack. I think that he thinks a little bit differently in that sense, where it kind of helps open up space for me and for our line and for himself. So anytime that you have a player that's kind of, not necessarily kind of, but, it's been to the finals and won the cup and been a big reason for that. And just his pedigree, anytime you can kind of pick his brain about literally anything, I think is always something that I like to do.
We'll take 2 final questions from Sophia and Loftus. Let's go Sophia first. Go ahead, Sophie.
Hey, Jake. I'm just wondering, with, like you said, everything's so different this year with COVID, what your off season looks like. I know you're probably not even thinking about that right now, but obviously if the target date is December 1st and if that sticks to it, just wondering if you even know what differences from this year in the off season to last year would be in terms of getting back on the ice or just doing some off ice dry land training, what that might look like in Edmonton.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I, like you said, haven't thought too much about that. I guess my initial thoughts probably for that would just be, obviously it's going to be different. And like you said, the on ice stuff is the most important, I think, at this time. I think that's one thing I'm going to probably attack more this year, is try to get, on the ice just a little bit more. I think that feel a little more, comfortable coming into camp. If December 1st is the day that they're aiming for, that's probably the biggest thing, is just trying to find ice times, I guess. And obviously with the rules and regulations, figure, I guess, that part out. And then dry land training, same thing as well. I usually train not in big groups. There's some things that I do that are in groups though. So that's going to be, I think, something that's going to probably change. It might be more so individual or small groups, if I had to guess.
Okay, thank you. I hope you have an awesome summer. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, you too.
All right, Loftus, bring us home.
So I'm wondering, you've been asked a few times about Cretch, but, are you, really conscious of not just Cretch, but, that core and that, that time running out kind of thing? Do you think about, that a lot? Like, we got to get the most out of these guys like Cretch and Berge and, Marsh, that group there while they're still here, because there's not that much time.
I guess in the moment, not necessarily that much. When you're playing and stuff like that, you don't. We depend on those guys every night. Obviously, we have since I've been in the league. They're big parts of our team. The core guys that have been here and have won here, obviously. But yeah, it's something that you definitely think about when you take a step back. I think it kind of hits you pretty much right after you lose, and pretty much when the season's done, whenever it is, you understand that. Things happen, and there's certain things that, like you said, I guess the window and stuff like that you're more conscious of. And it's obviously a group that I want to win with. It's a group that, we've gone through a lot together. And, I think that we have the right pieces and we have the right, system and things like that to get us to the spot that we want to be, in a spot that we have a chance to win. So, I guess I would say as I get older here, I definitely notice it, I guess. It's obviously talked about and you hear about it. So you start thinking that a little bit, but it's not necessarily, a negative in a sense where, it's, this is the last kick at the can. It's obviously timing is everything, but it kind of depends on what happens on the ice as well. It's one of those things where, like I said earlier, I want to win with these guys, and this is the group I think that can do it.